Hey everybody, it's Damien here once again from Guitar Journey, and today I've got an amazing drill for you. Not just an exercise, mind you, but an actual musical drill that's going to do 5 different things for your playing, okay? This drill is going to enhance your picking accuracy, it's going to enhance your fretting hand dexterity, it's going to enhance the synchronization between your left and your right hands, it's going to enhance your sense of rhythm, your ability to perceive rhythm and know where the beat is at all times, and finally it's going to enhance your knowledge of the fretboard. You know, I always say that the best drills are those that develop multiple skills, multiple attributes simultaneously, and that actually have a musical application, okay? You want to be able to use what you've been practicing. This drill today definitely fits that description. Now, in terms of prerequisites for today's video, there really aren't many. As always, I strongly advise that you are very, very comfortable with your chromatic scale. Remember your chromatic scale, you know, that's C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, you know that, and so on and so forth. That's all the 12 notes that we find, the 12 pitches, the 12 tones that we find in Western music. And you really, really, really want to know them very, very comfortably by both their sharp names and flat names, okay? Sometimes C sharp is called D flat, okay? And if you're even a little bit uncomfortable with that idea, I do have a video on the chromatic scale. I'm going to put the link to that video in the description below here. Okay. Now, additionally, it's not required, but you know, you may want to learn how to determine the notes that we find in a given key. Okay. As it turns out, I have a video on that as well. I'm going to put that link in the description below as well. Okay. Ultimately, you know, you can also just look up whatever notes are found in a given key, just do a little search, you know, what notes are in A major, what notes are in C major, whatever. You can consult the circle of fifths if you're comfortable with that, however you want to do it, okay? But being able to assemble it independently, all on your own, not 100% required, but definitely a useful skill. So, on to the drill. What we're going to do in essence is we're going to ascend the neck. We're going up this way, of course, is going up the neck, ascending the neck. We're going to go up the neck, playing whatever scale we choose, 3 notes per string, 1 string and then another string, kind of 2 strings at a time for a total of 6 different notes, okay? So for example, if I'm in the key of C major, you probably know the key of C major is real easy. It consists of the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B. No sharps, no flats. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And the first 2 strings that I'm going to focus on right now are strings 1 and 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the 2nd string at the lowest fretted note that I can find within the key. Doesn't necessarily have to be the root note of whatever key you're working with, just as long as the lowest fretted note, the note that you're starting on, happens to be a note that is found within the given key. Now, in the case of C major, that works out real nicely because the lowest fretted note on the 2nd string is actually a C note. And of course, in other keys, it might not line up quite that nicely, but since we're starting in C, we got lucky. All right, so what I'm going to do is play 3 notes per string, staying within my given key. Again, C major for now. So starting on the C note here on the 2nd string, I'm going to play C, D, E on frets 1, 3, 5. And then I'm going to play F, G, A on the 1st string, also frets 1, 3, 5. Like that. So I'm playing the first 6 notes of a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A. Then I focus on the next note after the note on which I started. I started on a C note, of course, so now I'm going to look for a D note on the 2nd string, which is right here at the 3rd fret, and I'm going to play another 6 notes in succession starting on that D. So I'm going to go D, E, F. Of course, that's frets 3, 5, and 6, and then G, A, B on frets 3, 5, and 7 on the 1st string. Like that. So now that I've played that 6-note grouping, you guessed it, I'm going to go to the next note above where I just started for my next 6-note grouping, okay? I started my previous 6-note grouping on a D note, so now I'm going to find an E note. It's at the 5th fret of the 2nd string. 6 more notes from there. E, F, G, A, B, C on frets 5, 7, 8 of the 1st string. So that's the layout of the drill. Now I'm going to continue a little bit more in case there's anybody watching here who really isn't comfortable with finding the notes on the neck. So I left off with E, F, G, A, B, C. So now I started on an E previously. Now I'm going to start on an F. F, G, A on frets 6, 8, and 10. And then followed by B, C, D on frets 7, 8, and 10 on the 1st string. Then we've got notes G, A, B, frets 8, 10, 12 on the 2nd string. And notes C, D, E, also frets 8, 10, and 12 on the 1st string. Okay, we're almost there. A, B, and C on frets 10, 12, and 13 of the 2nd string. D, E, and F on frets 10, 12, and 13 of the 1st string. Almost there. B, C, D on frets 12, 13, and 15 of the 2nd string. E, F, G on frets 12, 13, 15 of the 1st string. Last one, because I want to make sure that I go at least one full octave. C, D, E on frets 13, 15, 17 of the 2nd string. F, G, A on frets 13, 15, 17 of the 1st string. Like that, okay? That's the sequence of the notes, okay? We'll talk about the rhythm in just a moment, but the sequence of notes looks like this. There we are. Now, before we get into a discussion of the rhythm, though, I just want to touch on the process of learning the notes on the fretboard. You know, if you know the notes in a given key and you know your chromatic scale, with a little work, you should be able to find the notes on the fretboard on your own. You know, for example, let's just say I'm working the 4th string and I'm at the 5th fret and I happen to know that this 5th fret 4th string note is a G, and let's just say whatever key I'm in, I'm looking for an A note. Hopefully I should know my chromatic scale enough to know that A is 2 half steps, that is to say 2 frets above G. So if this is G at the 5th fret of the 4th string, this should be A at the 5th fret of the 7th fret, pardon me, of the 4th string, and it is, okay? Once you have a good idea of where the notes are, say them out loud as you play them, okay? Work your way up, take your time, say the notes out loud until you're really confident where each note in the scale is found, you know? So you're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, D, E, F, G, A, B, and so forth, okay? And by the way, please do this before you do any of the picking aspects, any of the rhythm aspects, or anything like that. You need to make sure you're very, very comfortable with the location of the notes first, okay? And also, please don't try to multitask, you know? Saying the notes out loud, focusing on the rhythm, focusing on your picking, everything all at once. You're very possibly just going to overload yourself. You're going to get frustrated, and we don't want that, okay? Learn the notes first, okay? Now, once you do feel comfortable and confident about the location of the notes, now we can talk about the actual execution of the drill. In terms of my fretting hand, you know, the usual stuff. You want to make sure that your fingers are properly curled over the neck. No flat fingers, you know. We try to avoid that if we can. Make sure that you're fretting each note on your fingertips, and as much as possible without, you know, contorting yourself into some really uncomfortable position. You want your fretting hand to be more or less perpendicular to the fretboard, okay? Now, at the lower frets, there might be an angle, you know, and everybody's built a little bit differently. So in a perfect world, we do that, but life isn't perfect. Something to shoot for anyways. Now, as far as my picking hand, I want to point out, I think it's very important that you alternate pick each note of this drill. And since there are 3 notes per string, that means you're going to start each 6-note sequence with a downstroke, but when you switch strings, you're actually going to be catching the next string with an upstroke. So for example, down, up, down, I switch strings, up, down, up. Again, down, down, I switch strings, up, down, up. Okay? To be clear, I do understand not everybody believes in really strict alternate picking like this, okay? I personally believe that you'll get the most benefit out of the drill if you do it this way, but for those of you who are into economy picking or variations of that, honestly, do whatever works best for you, and you'll still get a great deal out of this drill. Me personally, I'm gonna faithfully alternate pick, okay? Now let's discuss the rhythm. As we said, we're playing 6 notes at a time. And what I want you to think about is playing those 6 notes either as 8th notes, or as triplet 8th notes, or as 16th notes, which is going to be a little bit tricky. You'll find out why in a moment, or as triplet 16th notes. And then last but not least, we're going to add a final variation on the drill that'll actually take us back to regular 16th notes towards the end, okay? Now, as far as 8th notes are concerned, we know with 8th notes there are 2 notes for every beat. We're going 1 and, 2 and, like that. So if we've got 6 notes, that means we're going to have a total of 3 beats per 6-note grouping every time. Now, if you have a metronome handy that can actually, pulse in different time signatures, you may, don't have to, but you may want to set your metronome to 3/4 rather than 4/4. This will give you a new measure every time you go to a different 6-note grouping, okay? That's not necessary, but it's kind of neat. It can help you stay organized. Really your call. It's up to you. So we're going to drill our 6-note pattern all the way up the neck as 8th notes. We're going to activate our metronome, play all the way up. It's going to sound like this. Okay, now a quick note. When you're playing a drill using 8th notes, it's generally a good idea to play both straight time 8th notes and swing feel 8th notes, okay? I just played straight time 8th notes, but you can also play with a swing feel. It's going to be like 1 and 2 and 3, like that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and kind of like that, okay? So that's what we do with 8th notes. Now we want to play triplet 8th notes. By the way, if you're changing time signatures and all that with your metronome, you can put it back to 4/4 if you want to. With triplet 8th notes, as the name implies, there are 3 notes per beat. 3 notes per beat. And contrast that with regular 8th notes where there are 2 notes per beat, okay? So with triplet 8th notes, we have 3 notes per beat. So if I'm going to play the drill with triplet 8th notes, the 3 notes on one string will get a single beat. And then the 3 notes on the next string will get another beat. I'll be counting rhythmically 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet as I work my way up. So triplet 8th notes are going to end up sounding with a metronome like this. So that's triplet 8th notes, okay? Next up is 16th notes, and things are going to get just a little bit tricky from here. With 16th notes, there are 4 16th notes in every beat, okay? We count these 16th notes as 1E and a, 2E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, okay? 4 individual notes for every beat. But this is a 6-note pattern. So what's going to happen is we're going to play the first four notes of the sequence as 16th notes like this. 1, E, and and then the final two notes of the 6-note pattern are going to be the start of the next beat. But since it's only the final two notes of the 6-note sequence, we're going to end up only halfway through the beat. It's going to be like, we just did 1 E and here's 2 E, and we're in the middle of the beat, as I said. What's going to happen? We're going to start the next 6-note pattern in the middle of the second beat. Remember, we went 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and okay? We're starting the next 6-note pattern, as I said, in the middle of beat number 2, and then we play the remaining 4 notes of the 6-note pattern as the next beat. Okay, so we kind of go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and okay, like that. Now, because this is a little bit asymmetrical, somewhat like you did with 8th notes, with 16th notes, you can also set your metronome if you want to 3/4 time. Again, totally not necessary, not required, but you can do that if you feel it would be helpful for you. Okay, 3 full beats will enable you to play the 6-note pattern twice. Okay, 6 times 2 is 12. And so again, one last time, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and at the conclusion of beat number 3, I have done 2 successive 6-note patterns, okay? And by the way, these kinds of asymmetrical counting patterns are awesome for solidifying your awareness and perception of the beat, okay? I mentioned at the start of this video that this particular musical drill will really enhance your rhythmic awareness. And this is an example of one way that this drill does that, okay? Here's how the entire drill sounds with the metronome. Okay, so that's 16th notes. Next up, we're going to try the drill with triplet 16th notes. Triplet 16th notes actually cram 6 notes into a single beat. So, looking on the bright side, what we're actually about to do is really very symmetrical. We have a 6-note pattern. We're playing 6 notes per beat. And so we're really just playing that 6-note pattern for every beat, okay? 1 beat per 6-note pattern. That's the good news. Yeah, the not so good news is that it's really pretty challenging to play 6 notes even inside a single beat, even at a slow tempo. So give this one a shot if you want to, but please don't feel badly if you don't quite have the speed to play the drill this way. It's very beneficial, yes, but it is also quite challenging. Now, if we are going to try it, though, those triplet 16th notes, again, 6 notes for every beat, so it's going to be kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth, okay, all the way up, okay? Now, with the metronome, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so far we've done 8th notes, both straight time and swing feel, 16th notes, and triplet 16th notes. Now we're going to do a final variation, and we're going to do that final variation as regular 16th notes. Again, 1 E and 2 E and like that. And what we're going to do for this final variation is we're going to play the last of the 3 notes on each given string. The last of the 3 notes on that string, we're going to add a single note to each string. What we're going to end up doing is repeating the final note on the given string. So for example, On the second string, as you know, I go C, D, E, and I'm going to play the E note a second time. It's going to be C, D, E, E. Then when I play the first string, remember I go F, G, A, I'm going to go F, G, A, A. So it's going to be C, D, E, E, F, G, A, A, D, E, F, F, G, A, B, B, like that. And the reason I like this variation so much is that in my experience with private teaching, I find this particular variation is a terrific challenge in terms of our overall hand synchronization. It's something about the repeated pinky note really challenges us to have both of our hands really nicely in sync. It requires us to be very precise about exactly how long we're holding the last note before we jump to the next string. Now, in terms of the rhythm, since we're playing this as regular 16th notes, again, it's pretty symmetrical. You know, it's simply going to be on the starting string. It's going to be 1 E and 2 E and on the subsequent string. Back to the starting string, 3 E and over to the next string, 4 E and so on and so forth, okay? So, first couple of measures, the drill is going to sound like this. And so that's the final variation. You know, I say the final variation, but the truth is there are endless variations, and you can actually be pretty creative in coming up with variations of your own. For the record, all the examples I've given you today have been on strings 1 and 2 to make it easy to follow the different variations. Well, of course, you've got to do strings 2 and 3, strings 3 and 4, strings 4 and 5, strings 5 and 6, right? You want to cover the entire range of the neck, all the strings, you know, all over the fretboard, okay? Also, once you feel very comfortable in a given key, we've been doing C major today, once you feel very comfortable in whatever key you choose to start with, we can have some more variations, okay? We've been going up the neck, ascending the neck, but we should be able to go down the neck as well. You know, we left off at C, D, E, F, G, A. Well, we should be able to come back, you know, A, G, F, E, D, C, going first string to second string. And then maybe G, F, E, D, C, B, F, E, D, C, B, A, you know, like that, working our way down the string, okay? You could even alter the order of the strings. Start on the first string, then go to the second string. A little bit weird in terms of the notes themselves because you're going to be saying like F, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, F, that kind of thing, okay? That'll be an interesting variable as well, especially for your picking hand. And of course, one key is not enough. Do you need to do every key on the circle of fifths? Probably not. But what I recommend you do is start in C major, work your way down the circle of fifths. So in other words, after C, you might want to go on to G major. And your first 6-note sequence will still start on the C because we do find a C note in the key of G major. But on the first string, you're going to have to factor in the F sharp rather than the F natural that we played earlier. So in G major, the first couple of measures or so should look like this. You know, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and so on and so forth, okay? From G major, bounce over to the other side of the circle of fifths, take F major. And then from F major, bounce back to the right side and tackle D major. And maybe from D major, you can go to the left side and work on B flat major. You get the idea. Working your way down the circle of fifths. So hopefully by this point you can see this is just a fantastic drill for learning your keys, learning the notes of each key all over the fretboard. Remember, say them out loud as you're working your way up. It's a great drill for synchronizing your hands, working on accuracy with your fretting hand, enhancing your sense of rhythm, enhancing your picking ability. Just a flat out great drill. Okay, give it a shot and let me know how it goes. Okay, and as always, please hit the subscribe button. There's a ton of content here on the Guitar Journey channel, and there is a ton more content coming. We're adding new content all the time. And I really, really want to have you along for this awesome guitar journey. Also, please leave me a comment. I really do believe that we can all learn from each other. And if you disagree with me, that's fine too. Or if you feel that I've left something out, that's fine too. Hey, maybe you can even suggest your own variations for the drill. We can all benefit from that. We can all learn from each other, okay? It's been a long video, I know. Time to get to work. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.